Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why a simple hello can make your heart race? Or why the way someone greets you lingers in your mind hours after they've walked away? It's not just a greeting. It's a signal, a crack in their composure, a glimpse into the emotion they're trying not to show. Because when someone is secretly in love, the first thing that betrays them is how they say your name. So don't blink, because what looks ordinary might be everything you've been waiting to hear. There are moments in life when you walk into a room and everything subtly shifts. Not in a dramatic way, no trumpets, no spotlight, but in something quieter, something deeper. A certain energy changes. Someone straightens their posture, adjusts their tone, smiles in a way that feels slightly different. These aren't grand gestures, but they carry a quiet weight. These micro movements are easy to dismiss if you're not paying attention, yet they say more than any words ever could. The way someone greets you in these moments reveals far more than casual conversation. It carries the residue of thought, of nervousness, of anticipation. There's something special there, not in what is said, but in how it's said. The delivery holds the truth. It's easy to think that hellos are routine, that a greeting is just a formality, a throwaway line. But for the emotionally attuned, it's the first line of a deeper script. It's the front door to something personal. When someone's feelings are involved, even the most mundane interaction becomes loaded with meaning. A simple hey can feel charged if it's delivered with warmth that isn't reserved for everyone else. Pay attention to the tone. Is it lighter, almost playful, or softer, more careful, as if trying not to disturb the moment? In that delivery lies vulnerability, whether it's consciously offered or not. There's a kind of emotional tremor in the voice that shows something real is underneath. What separates this kind of greeting from a normal one is presence. Most people greet out of habit, an automatic reflex, but when there's an emotional investment, it's different. That moment becomes intentional. It's not just about acknowledgement, it's about connection. The person isn't just noticing you, they're registering you. There's a flicker in the eyes, maybe a change in pace, or a sudden awareness of how they look or sound. That kind of reaction is hard to fake and even harder to suppress, because when emotions are involved, the body speaks before the mind catches up. The voice gets warmer, the eyes linger, the moment stretches just a little longer than it should. And it's not about drama. It's not about someone jumping up and down performing excitement. It's actually more subtle than that. It's the quiet recalibration of their entire energy. The moment before the hello, they might be distracted, talking, laughing, scrolling on their phone, but the second they notice your presence, there's a switch. The conversation slows, the phone disappears, the shoulders lift, there's a mini set, and you become the new focal point. That pause, that flicker of attention says, you just changed my atmosphere. And they're not aware of doing it half the time. That's what makes it authentic. You've impacted their world without even trying. There's a vulnerability in the greeting that matters. When someone's heart is involved, their guard doesn't fully stay up. Even if they're trying to seem casual, their emotional posture gives them away. They might stumble slightly, fumble for words, or overcompensate with confidence. And you feel it. You feel the pressure they're under to keep it light when it's really heavy. You feel the hesitation before they speak, the hesitation that says, I care more than I'm letting on. These small hesitations are revealing. They're the result of someone who's battling the urge to stay composed, even as their feelings begin to surface, one greeting at a time. And here's the truth, people don't put that kind of energy into someone they're indifferent about. They don't recalibrate their mood, their posture, or their expression just because a friend walked in. This is reserved for those who mean something. This is for the person they were secretly hoping to see. And the greeting is their first opportunity to show that, without showing too much. It becomes a delicate balance of interest and disguise. Like trying to send a love letter in invisible ink, hoping it gets noticed, but praying it's not too obvious. They don't want to lose composure, but they also don't want to miss their chance to create a moment. People reveal their intentions in the first few seconds of an interaction, not in the content of what they say, but in the cadence, the warmth, the focus. You can feel when someone's attention shifts into something deeper. It's like they've dropped into a different emotional register. The small talk may sound the same, but the emotional temperature is higher. There's a different frequency. And that frequency is where the truth lives. They're not saying they care, but they are showing it. And in a world where everyone is so careful with their feelings, those moments of unconscious revelation are gold. They're rare and they're real. There's something sacred about the way people give themselves away in the first seconds, because that's when the mask hasn't been fully adjusted yet. That's when instinct beats strategy. And in those instinctive reactions, you see a person's truth. You see what they feel when they aren't trying to protect themselves. You see joy, you see nerves, you see admiration, maybe even affection. That's what a real greeting looks like when it's coming from someone who's emotionally invested. It's not choreographed, it's not clever. It's simply sincere. And in a world full of surface-level interaction, sincerity is a magnet. So many people are looking for signs, obvious declarations, grand gestures, direct messages. But often, it's not about what someone tells you outright, it's about what they communicate unintentionally, the way they light up when they see you, the way their tone lifts for you when it stays flat for others, the way they look directly at you like they want that moment to matter. These are not just niceties, these are signals, and they're more honest than any scripted line, because feelings show up in body language before they ever show up in words. And the hello is the stage where they accidentally perform. When you start paying attention to these subtle cues, you realize love rarely walks through the front door. It usually sneaks in through the cracks, through the softness of a voice, the pause in a sentence, the slightly too-long look. It's not always loud, but it's there. And if you're listening, really listening, you'll hear it in the way someone says hello. You'll feel the extra second of presence. You'll notice the unspoken hope tucked between the lines. That hope is everything. That presence is everything. That greeting is not just a hello, it's a heart trying to stay calm and failing beautifully. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't walk into the room wearing fireworks. It doesn't arrive with a soundtrack or shout from the rooftops. But it carries something that momentary charm never will. Reliability. In a world where people appear and disappear like messages in a chat window, the one who shows up again and again stands out, not because of what they say, but because they keep saying it. Every message, every check-in, every repeated hello builds something, not a castle overnight, more like the slow laying of bricks. Those bricks say, I'm here. They whisper commitment without needing permission. When attention isn't sporadic, it becomes a signal. Not the loud kind, but the kind that becomes impossible to ignore once you notice it. Someone who consistently greets you, thoughtfully, warmly, with care, isn't doing it by accident. They remember to remember you. And in a world full of distracted minds and wandering eyes, that kind of remembering is rare. It takes a certain emotional investment to be consistent without prompting, to show up even when there's no immediate reward. That behavior tells you what words don't, that you're not just passing through their thoughts, you've taken up space in them. Repetition, when it comes from the heart, isn't boring. It's proof. Proof that the kindness isn't random. Proof that the interest isn't fleeting. Anyone can be charming for a day. Anyone can send a cute message once. But it takes something deeper to make someone feel seen over and over again. Not just when it's convenient, not just when attention is available, but even in the small, forgettable moments, the ones most people ignore. If someone consistently brings positive energy into your day, there's a reason for it. That reason may not be spoken aloud, but it lives in their actions. Real affection doesn't just spike when it's convenient. It doesn't vanish when the excitement fades. It lingers. It keeps showing up, especially in the quiet places, especially in the daily rhythms where most people lose interest. And one of the most overlooked signs of this is how someone greets you, again and again. If they do it with care, with warmth, with that same brightness every time, they're not just being polite, they're investing in a connection. That's how deeper feelings reveal themselves, not through one dramatic moment, but through hundreds of gentle, steady ones. You can't fake consistency. You can fake excitement. You can fake politeness. But you can't keep showing up in someone's life with sincere energy unless something real is pulling you there. That's what makes consistency so honest. It's not something people can maintain for long unless they truly mean it. So if someone continues to greet you with attention, thoughtfulness, or emotional presence, it's not about routine, it's about meaning. It's about making sure you feel noticed every single time. And that quiet dedication is where the truth lives. It's easy to get swept away by intensity. The bold compliments, the sudden rush of interest, the passion that lights up and then disappears. But intensity without consistency is just adrenaline. It fades. What lasts is the person who makes you feel like your presence matters repeatedly, the one who never lets your arrival go unnoticed, the one whose voice lights up the same way every time. That behavior doesn't come from obligation. It comes from a place of emotional investment that most people guard. And when they let it out, even just in a simple hello, it speaks volumes. Over time, these greetings become a pattern, not one that's boring, but one that's comforting. There's something quietly powerful about being greeted like your presence is a gift, not just once, but always. That repeated welcome builds trust. It makes you feel remembered. And in a world full of people who are too busy, too distracted, or too inconsistent, that feeling becomes unforgettable. It's not the greeting itself that matters. It's what it says about the person giving it, that they keep choosing to acknowledge you, to uplift you, to connect. Everyone longs for the big moments, the confessions, the clarity, the declarations, but most of the truth is hidden in the small things, like how often someone reaches out, how they never seem to forget to check in, how they greet you like they've been waiting to. That level of consistency builds a quiet intimacy, not the explosive kind, but the deeply rooted kind, the kind that doesn't depend on mood or moment, the kind that just is. And that's how affection grows. Not in a rush, but in a rhythm that gets stronger each time it's repeated. When someone makes a habit of showing up for you, it's because they care, even if they won't say it out loud. They may think they're being subtle. They may believe they're keeping their feelings tucked away, but consistency always tells on the heart. Every repeated hello, every thoughtful gesture, every small check-in is a confession without words. It says, I haven't stopped thinking about you. It says, you're not just another face in the crowd. And the more it happens, the louder that message becomes, even when it's wrapped in silence. Love doesn't always start with fireworks. Sometimes it starts with a pattern, with the same voice lighting up each day, with the same energy being offered freely, no matter the time or context. It begins with someone showing you that they see you every day, not just the days that benefit them. It starts with a consistent greeting that never grows stale, because it's rooted in something sincere. That's how emotions grow before they're ever spoken. Quietly, repeatedly, like footsteps that keep returning to the same place. And when you look back, you realize that consistency wasn't just a routine. It was a form of love trying to speak. There's something quietly powerful about the way ordinary moments can be transformed. A simple hello, when wrapped in intention, can become an invitation, not just to talk, but to feel. Not everyone creates those moments. Most people move quickly, rushing from one task to the next, giving greetings out of habit. But occasionally, someone doesn't just greet you, they make a moment out of it. It's not what's said that makes the difference, it's how it feels. It slows you down. It catches your attention. It shifts the energy in the air. And without knowing why, you're smiling. Because that one interaction felt like it meant something. Those kinds of greetings aren't manufactured. They aren't the result of trying to impress. They come from a deeper desire to connect, to be noticed, to make you feel a certain way. When someone adds humor, warmth, or a playful spark to a simple hello, it's not about being charming. It's about creating a shared experience. Even if the moment only lasts a few seconds, it becomes memorable. It tells you that someone wanted to make you feel seen, feel special, even in passing. That effort may seem small, but the emotional impact is lasting. Because we don't remember what people say, we remember how they made us feel. Most people go through their days with conversations that blend into each other. One generic interaction after the next. But every now and then, someone stops that cycle. They make eye contact longer than usual. They ask something real, or they say something just a little quirky, just enough to make you pause and laugh. It's not accidental. It's a decision to break the script. And in that break, a different kind of interaction is born. One with life in it. One with energy that stays with you after it ends. It doesn't need to be deep or dramatic. It just needs to feel real. When someone does that consistently, turns a greeting into a mini moment, they're not just being friendly. They're expressing a desire to be significant in your world. They're saying, I want this moment with you to stand out. That doesn't come from indifference. It doesn't come from someone going through the motions. It comes from someone who feels something more, whether they've said it or not. They may laugh it off, play it cool, act like it's no big deal. But deep down, they're choosing to offer more than the bare minimum. They're trying to leave a trace of themselves with you. Think about it. Of all the people they interact with, not everyone gets that kind of greeting. Not everyone gets that spark, that humor, that warmth. So why does this energy keep showing up in your direction? Because something about your presence stirs something in them, something they don't bring out for everyone else. And that instinct to turn a simple hello into a special exchange is their way of holding space for something unspoken. It may not be loud, it may not be labeled, but it's there. And it's quietly carving out connection in the smallest of ways. The people who turn greetings into connection points are emotionally intelligent. They know that life happens in moments and that you don't need hours to create impact. Just a few seconds of intention, a well-timed compliment, a playful smirk, a question that hits a little deeper than usual. All of these are tools for connection, and they're being used deliberately. Not manipulatively, but meaningfully. Because when someone wants to connect with you, they don't wait for the perfect time. They use what they have. And what they have is this moment, this greeting, this chance. You can always tell when someone wants to be remembered. They're not trying to impress the whole room. They're focused. Their words, their smile, their presence. It's all directed. And when they greet you, they're not just being nice. They're trying to be noticed, and not in an obvious way. They're trying to write themselves into the memory of your day. And it works, because those moments stand out. They're the bright spots you think about later, long after the conversation ends. Not because of what was said, but because of how alive it made you feel. There's also a certain vulnerability in trying to create a moment with someone. It requires courage. It means risking a little more of yourself, risking that your energy might not be returned. But they take that risk anyway. They show up with a little extra wit, a little extra warmth, even when it's not required. That's not accidental. That's desire in disguise. And it's easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Easy to brush off as just being friendly. But look closer. That effort is a form of emotional generosity, a way of saying, you matter enough for me to try. Not everyone is skilled at expressing what they feel directly, but those who care often express it creatively. They may not come out and say it, but they'll show it in the little things, in the way they make you laugh at the start of a conversation, in the way they ask about something you forgot you mentioned, in the way they act like the world paused for a second when you arrived. These aren't throwaway gestures. These are signals, subtle ones. They come wrapped in jokes and smiles, but underneath they carry emotional. They're a form of affection that hides in plain sight. What you're left with after enough of these moments is a sense of certainty. You may not have words for it, but you feel it, that there's something more beneath the surface, that someone is putting care into your every interaction, that someone is trying quietly and repeatedly to make your presence feel like a highlight in their day. And even if nothing is ever said, even if it never becomes more, there's still beauty in that, because it reminds you that real connection isn't loud. It's intentional. And even a simple hello can carry the heartbeat of something deeper. The most telling moments in life are often the quietest. There's no grand gesture, no dramatic reveal, just presence. When someone's attention lands fully on you, it's felt in an instant. It's not about the volume of their words or the cleverness of their greeting. It's about the depth of their awareness in that moment. You can feel when someone's truly there, not just physically, but emotionally. Their eyes don't dart around the room. Their posture softens. Their energy shifts. And without needing to say much, they've already communicated something real. Most people speak to be heard, but a rare few speak to connect. They ask how your day was, but it's not filler. They wait for the answer. They lean in and they respond with something thoughtful, something that proves they actually heard what you said. That kind of attention can't be faked for long. It comes from caring, not convenience. And it's especially clear in the way someone greets you. When it's not about performing or impressing, it feels calm, grounded, and sincere. That level of presence turns a simple hello into something meaningful. There's a difference between greeting someone to be polite and greeting someone because you're genuinely interested in how they are. Most interactions are surface level, quick exchanges that fill social space. But when emotion is involved, even the first few seconds become charged with care. The greeting slows down. The eyes linger a little longer. The words are chosen more intentionally. It's not about what's said, it's about how it's delivered. There's patience in the voice and a quiet invitation to be real. That kind of greeting asks for honesty without demanding it. You'll notice it in the way silence is handled. With most people, silence feels awkward, so they rush to fill it. But when there's a deeper connection at play, silence becomes comfortable, even welcome. Someone who is emotionally present doesn't mind a pause. They don't fill it with noise. They let it breathe because they're not trying to escape the moment. They're trying to be in it. That kind of presence is rare. It doesn't just come from habit. It comes from feeling. And when that feeling is there, it shows up before any conversation even begins. There's a unique warmth that shows up when someone isn't thinking about what they're going to say next. They're just with you. It's not strategic. It's instinctive. Their body language opens up. Their tone softens. Their eyes follow yours with focus, not distraction. They're not multitasking, scanning the room, or thinking 3 steps ahead. They're rooted, engaged, available. And it's in that emotional availability that something beautiful starts to happen. Safety. Because the most powerful kind of connection begins when someone helps you feel safe simply by being fully there. Most people don't realize how rare full attention is. We live in a world where it's common to be half present, nodding while scrolling, smiling while thinking about something else. But presence is felt when there's nothing competing for attention, when someone looks at you like nothing else matters in that moment, you know. It lands in your chest. It slows your heart rate. And it doesn't need a long conversation or a romantic declaration, just a look, a tone, a greeting that says, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to see you. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about flawless timing or saying all the right things. It's about emotional congruence. What's being said and what's being felt are aligned. There's no performance, no act, just presence. That's what makes these greetings feel different. They're rooted in truth. There's no pretending not to care. No holding back for fear of seeming too eager, just honest connection. And that honesty is disarming because so few people offer it. When someone does, it cuts through the noise. You remember how it felt long after the moment ends. You can tell when someone greets you because they have to, and when they do it because they want to. Obligation has a different tone, clipped, routine, sometimes rushed. But desire shows up gently. It lingers. It carries the energy of someone who's been waiting for this moment, even if only subconsciously. There's no pressure, just a softness that says, this matters. And you don't need to guess at it. Your body knows. The nervous system relaxes in the presence of authenticity. That's the real signal. Not the words, but how your own energy responds to theirs. We often search for clarity through labels and conversations, but the clearest truths are already showing up in the way people make us feel. Presence is one of those truths. When someone greets you and you feel more grounded, more noticed, more at ease, that's not an accident. That's emotional alignment. That's someone offering their attention with no strings attached. And the purity of that exchange reveals something deeper. Not just that you matter to them, but that they're emotionally available to let that truth show, even if it's just for a few seconds. At the end of the day, presence is the greatest form of affection. It says, I choose to be here with you right now. No distractions, no hidden agenda, just focus, just care. And in that focus, an emotional truth comes to the surface. Not through grand gestures, but through simple, repeated honesty. Every greeting, every pause, every look carries it forward. And when someone consistently offers you that kind of presence, you don't need to ask how they feel. You already know. Because love doesn't always start with words. Sometimes it starts with attention.